Hi, welcome to the after show for Sounds of Silence. That was an episode, right?
I mean, it feels like
Yes.
it's probably a good thing that we're getting like a break, a 1 week breather
Yeah.
break, because the past 3 episodes, ever since you arrived in Madison, have been very, very, very intense.
Intense.
Which was,
Yep.
that I think everybody kind of expected that. But
The first one wasn't as intense for anyone but Zach, but I was like, right, I know exactly what's happening here because of the cross thing. He's gonna be impulsive, he's gonna be rash because the cross thing is gonna completely shake him.
Yeah.
And it just went from there and went downhill the one time I do impulsive. One.
Today's episode was emotional.
yes.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yes. You finally got your son, or got to
Yeah.
your son, and we knew that was going to be emotional.
Yeah, I cried. That actually got me crying. I was not expecting it
Me
to
too.
happen.
Yeah.
And I did not expect, like, the whole Ida tie-in was just so
oh yeah.
poignant and, like,
Yeah.
spot on and, like,
I know. And she said like
almost a payoff,
A little bit.
but
the
not.
stuff about her kid.
Also-
oh man.
Like you said, it
Kara.
was definitely a payoff to a degree to just around the corner, obviously, I think, which is obviously what you meant. But she actually kind of, her stories, Ida's story is far from over. But
Yeah.
it's a personal, it's like a personal tie-off for Ida as a character.
Well, and I think that it was also a little bit of something awesome for us here, because what it means is, like, the real Rowan has a chance.
Oh yes.
And being with
Correct.
somebody like Ida, we know he has a chance because she's not oblivious. It's not like sending him to a foster home. You're sending him to the single woman who believes all this shit is fucking real.
Has its own dangers, obviously. Sending
Right.
Rowan to grow up with Ida, if that's end up where he actually ends up and growing up with Ida, because Ida is one with that world. So
And he
having-
has all his memories of Mark and abducting.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't think Ida's gonna put him in harm's way.
No way. Ida would never do that.
It's one of those things like,
Not on purpose.
get some rest, buddy, and then like stay up the rest of the night, just buried.
she's
in
like
books.
cleaning.
Yeah.
She's cleaning a gun. She's got books open the whole
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Like, wily.
Like, she will absolutely take care of him as if she were her own.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds
like
me.
that.
Rowan. Ollie said to Zach that he wanted Zach to wipe. Probably, we discuss it later, but probably that he'd want Zach to wipe the 1 and a bit years from Rowan's memory so that he could think everything's
The
all right.
fetch.
At
But
this-
it would work on the
Yeah.
fetch day. But at the same time, if the coterie wants to ask him questions about that 1 year, it would be Zach knows it would be running a risk, replacing a year's worth of memories, and then having
there's no
if
point.
The Cammy,
No.
If the Cammy
Yeah.
asks questions and all of a sudden he's like, then it wouldn't. It'd be dangerous.
We did actually raise it in front of them, and I think they actually said at one point.
Did they?
Yes, it was initially in the initial meeting. It was mentioned, and they said, "Wouldn't it be dangerous to have a child who had all the memories of vampires and stuff?" And then we said, "Look, we'll rewrite his memory of this, and it'll be like
No,
nothing
I want to
happened."
think they said they would.
Yeah, I think
Possibly.
they would.
They said they would rewrite his.
It would
memory.
make more sense for the camera to say we'll take care of it,
Yes.
as opposed to letting Zach take care of it away from the camera without them knowing fully what's going on.
Sure.
Yeah,
Either
that
way,
seems
I
way
know
more
it was
suspicious.
mentioned, and it was like all okay.
We also got a little closure on Kara too,
That's
Yeah.
true.
Very minimal closure, but
or very maximum.
very yes, it's very pointed
Yeah.
closure.
I don't think she was closed so much as laid bare.
Yeah.
True enough. True enough.
I don't
Also-
expect. I don't think the people thought I was going to follow through with it. Like,
Oh,
I
I did. I did. The moment
I
you said it, I was
did.
like, "Oh, he's
Yeah.
gonna go for this."
I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be
Yeah.
like they created more fetches, and like Dot mentioned to me in chat, like to draw Ida out is making more fetches of her, like friends.
Yeah, but I didn't expect it. I think chat still thinks that it was actually a fetch. There's part of chat, like I was
No.
watching, they didn't.
Our Kara is a fetch. We mean another fetch.
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a heavy episode.
It was a heavy
Was.
episode.
Yeah.
Also, Zach was completely, utterly, emotionally, if he has emotions, honest with everyone,
Mhm.
even to an extent Dakota, but that's mainly because he avoided Dakota.
I hit the extent piece of that. That's the key
Yeah.
word there. To an extent.
Honestly, even the stuff that Zach said to Ava was pretty heavy in its own way. Like,
Yeah.
he really is just done, Like,
I think this episode, more than any episode that we have ever played, this was the episode where your characters turned a corner. You've all been slowly turning a corner. You've all been changing, and there's been character growth. But this was the episode. This genuinely was good. The way it came off with the way you guys were playing, this was the episode that either you all came together and turned a corner together and accepted that this is your lot in life and you're going to play the fucking game, or you all go in your separate directions and saying, no, I'm not, and some will and some won't, and some will fight and some might kill. I mean, this is the episode we see Ollie accept the fact that he's going to play the Camarilla game. This is the episode where we see them having a conversation with Dakota, and Dakota saying, fuck, we'll play the fucking game. You know what I mean? Like this was the episode where we see the coterie take another step toward becoming the monsters.
I mean,
we all accepted we are like, we are fucked, but we're in it together. To an extent, Dakota as well, but obviously, like, we have a blood bond between us, but even she managed to bust through that at one point and to say, we are fucked together.
Yeah,
for the first time.
Yeah. It was, I guess it was just more, I saw the personality shifts. Like, I really saw the four of you, for better or for worse, your personalities, your character's personalities, while still true to the character, changed today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dakota had kind of made, like, standing there inside, watching Mama Heloise's head roll across the floor. Dakota had a major oh shit moment. Was like, I have to get through this and I have to let it play out. I have to. That was the moment where she was like, I'm stuck now. I'm stuck. I have to take this bond. I have to do this thing, and I'm going to have to reap the consequences of that in hopes of being free again one day.
It was just heavy, and it's been an absolute pleasure watching all of your characters change. You are not the same characters from day one. You're just not.
I'm really enjoying the last few episodes because I feel that I've actually really hit the personality of Zach that I wanted.
Emotionally bankrupt?
Just
I mean,
like,
he's always been to an extent
Thank you,
emotionally
Bob.
bankrupt.
emotionally empty.
No,
yeah.
like you have nothing else to give. Your character is, and it's not a bad thing, right? You've struck a wall, and everything that you thought that you could play, like, we're matching your plays and we're pulling it back on you, not because we want to, but because that's just how we roll.
It's weird because from my perspective, right, Ollie stuck because of Rowan. Stuck. He can't stop doing what he's doing because of Rowan. He has no end game. Rowan is his end game. He has no character beyond that until today, where we see the Rowan question finally wrapped up and answered, at least to a degree where he's okay. And now that Rowan has been removed from the equation, we see we start to see the Ollie that could be. We start to see the Ollie that starts thinking and playing the game. And on the flip side, we see Zach. Every time he's trying to be this emotionalist manipulator, he is stopped because of his attachment to Ava and emotions. He wants to be this emotionalist puppet master from behind the scenes, but he's consistently hit the wall that is Ava and family. Now that that's been plucked away, we start to see Zach become the character or the kindred that he's been trying to be. We can now see Zach, who is, like you said, emotionally devoid in a good way, you know, to further service his character. And now we can start to see Zach truly play the game fully. He was playing the game 75%, but that 25% was enough to fuck everything up every so often to set him back. That's all plucked away. Now we see that. And the same thing goes with Dakota. Ava has been kind of all in, and the thing that's been stopping her is her coterie. And now that the coterie is like going to play the game, Ava's free to do what she wants. And now we see Dakota accepting her punishment, removing those, you know, Clyde being answered, and now Rowan being safe, and being able to have that heart-to-heart with Ollie. All that shit is now out of the way, at least for now. And now she's starting to play the game. And she even brings up talking about being a hound, something she never would have discussed before. And now we can see what the potential kind of kindred Dakota can be. I feel like this episode, the major obstacles to playing the game of Camarilla politics has been pushed aside. And it's just fascinating to see how the four of your characters changed because of it.
I really actually look forward to having a conversation with Dakota, a proper conversation. Because Zach is going to actually finally have a chance to be relatively honest with her and just very sad about the Dakota that now is. Because they were starting to get talkative at that point right before things went south.
Yeah, but the thing is like Dakota has no reason until this episode to not trust you. She came back. She came back from Bella still treating Zach the same way. I think I said that in the last one. Like, she didn't
Yeah.
see a difference. It was Zach that treated her differently.
Zach deliberately avoided you when you first came back.
Yeah. And so for her, she doesn't. I don't know that she sees her now. She's more wary of Zach because of what Ollie told her.
Mhm.
It was like an eye-opening moment, and that kind of literally like ground shifting, like body quaking moment of being manipulated by possibly everyone, and her having absolutely no idea. Bella, Zach, Clyde.
The thing is,
Hmm.
Zach spent a lot of time being at the control of other people just because he physically wasn't able to control himself for a good chunk of time. So he doesn't like people losing certain like abilities to control themselves. So he really doesn't like Dakota undergoing the blood bond. He doesn't like wiping people's memory who he cares about in his way, which is why the only things he's done for wiping your memories, apart from like wiping Butcher's and Ollie's and Ava's, because that is just, well, all three of us know. Isn't it just safe if one of us knows and then I die? It stops three of us being liable. The only things he wiped were Ava's knowledge of the book, Dakota's knowledge of the book, and the thing with the boy. And that's the only three things he wiped, and those were literally point of death issues, and he only cut the chunk. He's lied about other stuff, and he's manipulated a little bit, but he doesn't like using the actual forget power on his friends, because it's something he could have felt could have happened way too easily to him without that.
I'll tell you, there was one part with Ollie where when he looked at Ava and was like, "You're telling me that they were going to sacrifice a child and put, obviously before memories wiped, and put Dakota in the situation," and him being like, "Zach and Saito are no better than Mark." Those are the exact words that ran through my head last game. They brought that boy in that situation, and Dakota had to make the choice to fix it. What she believed was the right choice in the moment, but like, Zach and Saito made a harder and, in my opinion, darker decision to give them to a Fae for simply cloning Mark when they could have just brought Mark back. You could have said, "Fuck you, Saito. We have a job and we're taking it back." And you didn't. You made a choice to sacrifice an innocent person, which was a really, really dark move for Zach. Could have believed it for Saito. Could not have believed it for Zach.
The reason Zach did it was because it immediately followed the cross thing, and everyone was telling him all along he was a monster, when he had certain lines that he wouldn't cross. And, you know, those lines were different from most people's lines.
Catch me up here. When has Zach been called a monster this game?
Correct.
I believe it was that episode, right? Early in that episode.
Because last I checked, the only monster was Ollie. He's been treated as such through the Camarilla the entire time.
Yeah, but that's when they're
Zachary,
close
you
to
look
you.
lovely. Ava, you're simply ravishing. Dakota, look at you. You shape up well. Ollie.
Yeah. Right. Well, and
I got
Dakota,
the
they
fucking
treated
side
that's what
eye.
I'm saying. They treated Dakota like a monster till the bond, and then after the bond, it was like, well, we'll give her some slack.
I think he means a different kind of monster. Like, he's not a Nosferatu type monster, but the manipulation that he does and the way that he goes about certain situations could be seen like, wow, he's like a cold-hearted monster.
Yeah, and the fact that he was raised in a Catholic home, even if he was still like he would go to church and stuff, he was still dubious about how much he believed, but he still believed in something, and he still had that system. When that's immediately taken away from him and shown that he is effectively the thing that is the enemy of it, like it physically harms him when done right.
Sure.
It's like, well, his system of morals, even if you're going to morals outside of a religious system, his are at least built upon or parodied from that. And when that shatters, his immediate thing, while everyone is telling him that, oh, you're not helpful, you've been a monster, you've manipulated us, etc., while somewhat true, is just like, fuck it, I will be the monster. And if I'm the monster anyway, I will save Rowan, I'll get a mark, I'll get a spare mark, and everything will be fine. They'll go back, and so it'll be sorted, and only I have to sustain a stain on my soul, to use a game term.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever thought that Zach was a monster. I think that I've thought that Zach was a manipulator, tried and true, and I think that he showed us for the last 21-ish, 23, 4 or 5 episodes.
24 now, I think, right?
24
yeah.
today was
He has a certain paramount of control that if he doesn't have, then he's very uncomfortable and fidgety. Like, I mean, as such, moving the fingers and having to explain himself. But like, as far as the monster goes, in Ollie's eyes, Zach just looks like a scared kid.
Yeah.
Just trying to get grips with all.
And even what I find most interesting is I think personally, Zach has convinced himself that everybody thinks he's a monster.
That's it right there.
He used that as a way to make what he did okay.
Justify it.
To justify the hard decisions he has to make.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
it's a
has
self-fulfilling cycle.
ever called Zach a monster, except for maybe the one time he and Dakota had it out, but that was over a long time ago. Zach has called himself a monster.
It's definitely a reflection. I'm curious because I don't know the rule. What happens? Do vampires have true faith? Is that a thing?
No.
They can't.
Well, it's mentioned somewhere that there are rare occurrences, but
It's one of those. Anytime the answer is no in a question about kindred, the answer is no, but maybe somebody.
I think
Like,
it's
kind of like
referred to-
Gokanda then?
Yeah, exactly.
it's kind of referred to as like there might have been 3 vampires at different ages who had it, but
Yeah.
just generally, no, don't touch that.
Gotcha. Okay. That's interesting. I had
But
no
it's
idea.
because it's not faith in like this god or that god. It's faith in something. Like anyone of any faith can have true faith. So I guess you could be a vampire and have true faith in something.
Saito's gonna catch one. When I finally catch up to him, he's gonna find out that, you know, I don't really have like any ill will to him. He hasn't directly tried to harm me, but indirectly,
Yes.
he could have fucking got us killed. So Ollie's gonna have something to say to him about that. Even if he's like, this was Zach's idea. Like, come on now, you tricky dick. I know better.
Zach and Saito, like, we had a vague understanding that we have professional differences on this, but I will have to do everything I do to fuck you over. Which is why I was like, we can't work together. I honestly, go away, Saito. I said it last episode, I was like, Saito, we can't work together on this. We want different things. And that's why we came up with the plan, partly. Or he came up with the plan and offered it. And when Zach and Saito next meet up, I thought it was going to be a relatively easy one of, yeah, you did that. I understand why you did it. But now it's going to be a, wait, why did you kill him? And the Anarchs are here. Saito, who are you playing for?
Yeah, there's gonna be some comeuppance, I believe.
Thing is, I already know Saito knows more about the meth. And I know that I'm 70% sure that Vanessa knew about the meth. And Saito, in the years gap, what people at home don't know is Zach and Saito have been talking about Vanessa, and I'd been feeding information, and we did come up with a plan, or the bare bones of a plan, to kidnap the Gaul, which we never did. And then he knows about the meth, and I think that Vanessa's connected to the meth. So I'm going to assume he attacked Vanessa, or took no info from Vanessa in some way, or stole it from the library, because he's been talking about the library. And now he's going against the Anarchs. So I will honestly sit him down and have a frank conversation and be like, look, mate, what did you do with Vanessa? Did you steal something? What do you know about the meth? What's going on? And why did you kill him?
I do feel like Ollie's finally in a position with the rest of the coterie that, you know, he's had a chance to explain his feelings and get some things off his chest. I do believe so anyway. I don't think there's much gray area anymore.
No.
And another note to this episode. I'm sorry, Zach, that I made more work for you by telling Ollie, and then you had to wipe both of our minds. I felt like it was the right thing to do to tell Ollie, and that's why I did it, even though I knew like the potential that you'd have to wipe both of our minds. But I am surprised that Ollie, I guess you explained it to him, so he agreed to it, because when
I think the bit that you missed out was you didn't mention that I tried to get a copy of The Sun.
Yeah.
Which is the main thing that Zach was trying to add on
That
there
was
and
left
hope it would
out.
go through. And it couldn't be done.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah. But it was, I
had to pay
Good
very
that
close
he agreed to
attention to those details today. I was like,
Yeah.
I got to think in the mind of Mathis. Listen and hang on every little fucking word ever.
There is a lot of detail. Like that's the one thing about this game is very
It's
much
very
pay
detail-oriented.
attention. Very detail oriented.
Mhm.
I like that to quite an extent because it was a lovely moment last episode when me and Josh were talking and we made a deal. And Mathis was like, okay, Josh takes steps. Like, wait, why am I not taking Stain? He was like, well, you don't. I know what's going on. We nodded. Like me and Josh were like on the same wavelength through that talk.
Yeah, Josh didn't tell me that you had known about the plan. I only.
I
knew
didn't.
That Josh knew.
I knew from RP. I knew what he was doing, the way he talked, and what he's intimating.
Gotcha.
Because we both understand what the Fae was looking for, and we're both wanting to make a deal, so we both understand that what Tori's doing. Why wasn't Tori there? Tori's always with him.
Speaking of Fae, I don't know if you did this intentionally or not, but you were like, all right, I can wipe your memory, but I'm going to need some blood. In that moment, I was like, oh, hell no, not today.
No. Genuinely, that's because I was at Hunger 3, and if I have to wipe your mind twice, that could put me at 5. And then wiping Ava twice could put me at 7 if I roll terribly, which is not possible. Yeah, I'd be unconscious. So I was like, look, mate, I might actually need some blood.
I think if you had taken my blood, you might have gleaned something very different about it.
Honestly, Zach doesn't necessarily believe you because you went with such a strong, no. You went with such a strong no, and you were so opposed to it. And I was genuinely talking with, I mentioned to, I think, everyone else that, will we have to fight Ollie? Is it going to come down to a Kotri versus Ollie or anything? Mm-hmm. And Zach's already laid his position that he would have to fight because it's his mandate, but he would be willing to go down with one punch. And just be like, oh, I did my best.
Take one punch.
Yeah, I mean, it would only take one punch, but he wouldn't fight extra hard or anything.
Yeah.
And then Ollie coming back immediately with his son and putting on a good show of it. Zach's like, look, I'm too emotionally tired right now. I don't have the capacity to lie and put on that facade.
The facade's not over, right? As soon as we get there, I'm not going to be like, here's my son, do whatever you want with him. There's a lot more show still.
Oh yeah, but Zach was just like, look. I don't know. I suspect you're trying to lie about something. Whether you have had a moment where your beast has just gone crazy and lowered your humanity enough that you bring your son back and don't physically care about your son anymore, or whether you have done something weird. Maybe you sacrificed a child to make a fetch from the Fae. I didn't know Matthew was capable of that.
And if I'm totally real,
yeah, you don't even know.
Real, Ollie's still that's part of his son's soul.
Yeah, there's a piece of his soul there. Yeah. Ollie.
True.
Yeah, that I found that really interesting because I think there's a piece of Ollie that still is attached to that. It's not just it's not a mannequin of Rowan. There's a piece of Rowan there, and so it's still part of his son.
It's going to act, it's going to feel, and it's going to remember exactly like it was Rowan as well.
The great thing too is you have no idea how good of a fetch it is too, because the great thing about fetch creation rules, they're incredibly vague on who can make fetches. It just says Fae creatures can make fetches.
Oh wait, if it says creatures, that kind of means changelings, right?
That's why I let him do it. Yeah. That's why I gave him a roll to make an attempt. And depending on how well he succeeded will determine on how well.
And he said it a lot of times. He's like, I don't know if this is going to work.
He's seen it happen. He's just seen it happen a bunch. So he just kind of mimicked from his understanding of what it was, made a go at it. And as far as he's concerned, at least did a decent enough job.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were going to make me do it straight up tower defense. This is going to take a minute, so you're going to have to defend my body. All right, here we go. Let's rumble.
Brywolf.
No, the challenge for Ollie here was obviously being okay with this, trusting him to take his actual son somewhere else, on top of what, as far as Ollie knew, committing murder.
Yeah. So I find it interesting that you all think that your character is this. The Madison trip has been what's helped you solidify this new phase of your character. Dakota does not feel that way.
Yeah, it's shaken.
This bond has fucked with her. Between that and not knowing if half of, I guess she doesn't really know, but having things replaced and she's not at all sure of who she is or how she is. Good. She doesn't know what's really her and what's really not.
It has come up before in conversation, 12 episodes back when we mentioned mind wiping and stuff. It did come up that oh wait, you could wipe any of our minds and do stuff, and it was yeah, but. And we had that conversation already, so Dakota is aware of that, and it has come up. So
it's weird, but now it's relevant.
Yeah.
Then it was just information. Now it's relevant to her situation.
Yeah.
And she's just so I feel her and Ava have found a special place. I think because she knows that Ava, even after all of this, is still loyal to the Camarilla.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She knows that, and there's comfort in that because she knows that there's somebody else that's on her page. But the bond that she has with Ollie is different. And the trust that she has with Ollie, there's this deep part of Dakota, both her what's left of her mortal soul, I guess you could say, her humanity, and even the kindred side of her that knows that Ollie's not going to fuck her over. ever.
Mhm.
Which is why like we built to this point, and like I think Dakota's tried to talk to Ollie multiple times, and it's just like it hasn't happened, and it's been like episode, and things have just escalated emotionally.
Oh yeah.
To the point where like today was like a solid flat out fucking breakdown.
Yeah. It was good. It was good to finally have that, because you've been mentioning that it was needed, and to have that kind of
one-on-one time.
to have that brought around in full circle and finally have it. I think some people were probably expecting it to go a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
I know that people are misreading the situation a lot. I don't know if you guys see this or not with the chat, but there were people that's like, I can't believe Ollie's going to leave without Rowan. I know I was carrying him. I feel like they're missing details, or I'm not really sure.
There were a lot of people in chat that I don't think understood the fetch situation. Like there was one person that had to be like, no, there were two Rowans. Ollie left with the fetch. The real one left with Ida for safety. Like I had to just like lay that out again, like re-explain.
People were also popping in halfway through and being
right. And you had me dressed as Dakota playing Ida, so I think there were just like some confusing bits there, like all in all. But
and just so we're clear, like when I told Ava like, don't lie to me ever again, and then I proceeded to lie, like people's hackles were raised. They
were intense about it.
I also didn't think that that Ollie was lying, because like you just said, that is still Rowan. That is still at least a piece of actual Rowan.
It's misdirecting, right? To an extent,
it's right.
To an extent, it is a
lie by omission.
Yeah,
right?
It's
not a
bullshit.
bold-faced lie.
It's bullshit.
It's right.
Technically a lie. But
how many
bullshit.
technical lies have this game have we seen come from this party? You know what I mean? I think people are I think a lot of people were again, it just shows how invested the audience is in these characters.
I mean, Ollie would do anything for his son. Lying to Ava after saying I won't lie to you is nothing by comparison.
I just think people were upset because I think it was the first time they saw Ollie straight up just play the game, at least to a degree. And that is not who Ollie has been for 24 episodes now.
I'm shocked. I think for 24 episodes, I did get the impression that your like Butcher's hierarchy of needs is son.
Exactly.
Dakota, Ava.
Exactly. There you go.
Everything else,
But
I think that's why the chat was reacting so viscerally, because we're seeing a different side of Ollie.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And people, like I said, they're so attached to these four characters, so much so they've seen like the ins and outs of what drives them, to see them what they might perceive as a negative turn to a character that they love it.
And I've always said this. I'm like, man, Ollie's like the good guy. Like everybody loves Ollie. You know, they see him as the good guy, and it's
good
like
guys don't prosper as vampires, though, and that's the point.
Yeah,
and
he'd been dead in his first few months.
Saw Ollie do something not the good guy.
Like the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? Son, truth and honor.
Yeah.
Dakota, Ava, etc. But truth and honor are definitely below son. Like I always got that impression. I never thought it'd go any differently.
Yeah, no, me neither. Of course not.
Yep.
It's been fun, man.
Like if truth and honor went above son would be dead a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's why Dakota, it's interesting. I wanted the scene with Ollie to also like reflect the conversation she had with Bella.
Mm-hmm.
Bella put questions in Dakota's mind that she's not ever had to think about. Like, what is your purpose? Why are you doing this? Like, what do you want out of your second
goals?
life?
Yeah.
What are your goals? Like, what are you aspiring to? And Dakota sees something I think that Ollie obviously is unaware of, but like she wanted to pose those questions to him. They're important now to her. They resonate constantly in her mind. And it's this thing where it's like she wants Ollie to come with her. She wants Ollie to play the game with her, because how powerful could they possibly be if we play the game for X amount of years and get the Camarilla on our side, become extremely powerful kindred.
Yeah.
We're already powerful now. We're not even like,
My 10-year plan is optimally somehow get Dakota. Well, it's a 7-year plan, I guess, because is he 11 or 8?
He's 11.
He's 11.
11. Okay, so 7-year plan. That's a bit shorter.
He started as 8, which is why I kept saying 8. I'm like, he's 8. No, wait, he's 11. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
Right. In which case, 7-year plan would be to somehow break Dakota's blood bond in an ideal world. Have Ollie and Dakota like working security, maybe hounds, whatever. They can know where the Methuselah is. Line up Cammy, etc. Blah 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 blah. Everyone to take down Bella.
That's pie in the sky dream, right? Like this Methuselah thing, it's gonna pop off. That's next, like without a doubt, that's popping off.
And honestly, that's probably the thing that Zach's gonna say to at least Ava and Ollie tomorrow and say, look, I have a Hail Mary plan. And it's a plan that might be able to break Dakota out of a blood bond.
I think Bella is like just outside of game. I think Bella's gonna have a lot more to worry about than her blood bond to Dakota.
Correct.
Methuselah waking up is. Oof.
Someone has to wake the Methuselah up though, and she's got it guarded. So unless someone gets on the inside,
Something to think about.
yeah, Methuselahs will wake up by themselves, won't they? Normally,
Eventually, over the course of
but
a long time.
long time. So in theory, we'd have to have
the
someone
fact,
to wake
the
her up.
fact that the Methuselah is there is a ticking time bomb, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Well, how long do we know? How long she's
Don't
been
know how
missing?
long she's been in there. You have no idea how long she's been in Torpor.
We can know vaguely because of the age of settlements in America and the age of that structure itself, which I imagine is 200 years old. 200,
Somewhere around there.
300.
I
yeah.
know. I think the wiki probably has some recordings on her as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
sure. Oh, I like.
Oh, yeah.
The wiki has recordings on her, but I think it's general vagaries. I think it's just
Yeah.
like this is who she kind of is.
Without knowing specifics and without mentioning Sybil, because I don't know that. I know the building is 200 years old. You know, going beyond that, you wouldn't want to go more than 250 years
No,
for like the age of
absolutely not.
Chicago. Methuselah sleep to what, 400 years ish?
Somewhere around there, a few
Yeah.
centuries, depending.
So she's probably got a good deal of time if we just leave her.
Mm-hmm.
But the Camarilla are going to probably only wait so long before they say we're hitting that safety margin. We need to kill her, move her.
You just don't. Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. So you just don't know what the Camarilla wants to do with her
Yeah.
right now. Because I think the last one we had a conversation with Bella, they're just, which I think was Dakota. She was just like, "That's the next step. It's like we need to figure out what the fuck we're gonna do with this thing
Yeah.
because we have to decide."
Yeah.
So
So if they don't decide in the next 7 years, then fine, we have a choice. But I
yes.
don't think we really have that time. So
We'll
Zach
see.
would probably get Ava and Butch together next possible moment and say, look, we could throw in with the Methuselah. I can play a crapshoot. I might die trying to play it. And it's possible that she'll break Dakota out. Because she's going to have ability to just break blood bonds really easy.
But the real question is, when Dakota comes out of the bond, will she be anti-Camarilla?
That's a good question.
The Methuselah won't care by that stage.
You know what? I think if anything, she's gonna be pro Ollie. That's all that matters to
Yeah.
Ollie.
I will agree with that.
There you
Only
go.
2018. Wait, it's
I will agree with that.
2020 now. Isn't
Well, you
it?
got
Yes.
time to digest and think about what your next steps are. Chicago, which means you're no longer back on like the short timetable of just a few days. You're back to playing the Camarilla game, and
long
genuinely
game.
speaking, like the campaign itself is ticking down.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Oh, also, I'll have to let Maggie know this. This is just technical stuff, but I think we only get me one more game this month. We're doing what's the we'll have to go through it, but there's like
the
I
9th
think
you're away, which is Mage. The 16th you're here.
the
I'm
23rd's Mage.
No,
Yep.
30th is Mage, not 23rd, I think.
Okay, so I will be here. Okay, so basically for the
Oh, it
the
is. Yeah, that's
23rd
right.
game,
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll be here for 2 in a row. And
Okay.
then it's 30th, so...
I will the next 2 after that though. I'm out. The 30th is Mage, and then the 6th of April I'm out. That will be our.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'll have like 2 on and then 2 off. Granted, only one of them will be vampire. But I'll remind you. That.
2 off.
We
Okay.
throw in with Saito because, honestly, I was gonna go talk to the meth, so...
Nah, we'll talk.
I mean,
we'll talk.
I'll throw dates out at you so you can think through it, Mathis, because I'll have at
Yeah.
least 2 more.
Anyway,
before we
thank you for watching the
probably
after
get
show.
through, so.
This
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the complications
guys.
to go through of scheduling.
Goodbye.
Bye.
everybody.
I've got the wrong monitor, so let's do that again. Bye, Team Sybil.
Bye.
Bye.